Hi Josie, this is Ellen. It's nice to see more essays from you. Let's take a look at what you did here. This is about online communication in the workplace, advantages, disadvantages. So let's see what you have to say, shall we? A growing number of companies utilize online communication platforms to boost employees' collaboration efficiency in recent years. Considering virtual communication will bring convenience and efficiency to companies, I believe it offers greater advantages and disadvantages to the workplaces. This essay will discuss these issues using studies to back up my arguments. Okay, good overall. Couple of things I want to change though, okay? The first thing is that first sentence, you needed to use a different tense because you're showing us here a developing situation, something that is changing throughout the period, and so you needed a different period, different tense. Also, you used this here in recent years. You also used a growing number, so all of this shows change, and so I want to use a continuous tense. Let's see which one fits best. A growing number of companies is using, but then you've got here. So you're going to use something a little more complicated. You're going to use has been using. A growing number of companies has been utilizing online communication platforms to boost employees of collaboration in recent years. Okay, because it's this, you've got this keyword here, and then you've got this idea of it developing. So, okay, and then let's see what else. Okay. This essay will discuss these issues and studies to back up my argument. Okay, I would have preferred a different word here to back up my arguments. It's a phrasal verb, and in general, you need to know that phrasal verbs and idiomatic expressions, they tend to feel rather informal. So that means that although they work really well in an informal letter or in spoken English, in task 2, you want to avoid these. So I would not have said to back up my arguments. Instead, I would have said using studies to support my arguments. Okay, so that's another thing. I know it was those two things. There is one other thing that I want to mention to you. You didn't mention anything about face-to-face meetings, which is also addressed here in this essay. It's not just, online meetings in a vacuum, but rather it's online meetings becoming more common than face-to-face meetings. So perhaps you should have mentioned face-to-face workplace communication as well. All right, so that's enough about your introduction. Let's move on. Now, again here, there's a problem with tense. I think you should have used here present perfect. So people have debated. So let's try that. People have debated that virtual communication has eliminated our attention and ability to interpret nonverbal cues throughout the meeting. Okay. In-person meetings usually require employees to fully engage, whereas video conferencing will hinder their productivity due to the increased likelihood of encountering distractions like websites with work-irrelevant information. I'm not sure I understand that. Furthermore, video communication allows limited gestures and emotional interpretation compared to face-to-face communication. Empirical studies in America demonstrated that workers reported more pauses and ideas repetition. I would have kept both of these a single. Idea repetition during interaction, since it was harder to interpret team engagement when attending virtual meetings than face-to-face meetings. Okay. Consequently, the distracting websites and limited interactions would cause potential delays in work progress. Okay. On the whole, I like this paragraph quite a bit. There are a couple of things I would have changed here. The first thing I would have done is I would have put a more general topic sentence. So what does the topic sentence do? It essentially introduces the reader to the central idea of your paragraph. So it should just be something rather broad, rather general, before you get into your main ideas. So here it would be something like, what's the central idea of this? And the central idea is that with online communication has come numerous disadvantages for the workplace. Full stop. That's it. okay? Because that's what this paragraph is about. It's about the disadvantages. It's about the inability to interpret nonverbal cues. It's about the limited gestures that are allowed. It's about repetition, okay? So you want to have a general sort of statement as a topic sentence so that as soon as the examiner reads it, he or she can kind of orient himself or herself to what this paragraph is about, okay? And this is rather important in terms of coherence and cohesion. So I thought that was good. There was something else that I wanted to bring up here, so let me just look through this one more minute. What I want to talk to you about. You talked about video conferencing, and then you talked about distractions like websites with irrelevant information. I didn't understand that. I mean, to my understanding, when you're in a video conference call, whether that's over Zoom or Skype or whatever platform you're using, I didn't understand what this thing about work irrelevant information was. It didn't really make sense to me, and I didn't understand it, so that was a little confusing. And then you repeated the idea further down. You said distracting websites. So I couldn't understand really what you were talking about. I mean, when you're in a Zoom call, it's up to you to determine whether you've got other tabs open in the background or not. You can have just your Zoom window open and then that's it. So I didn't really entirely understand that. There was a little bit of confusion there. Maybe you needed to explain what you meant, or maybe you should have just left it out entirely, okay? Let's move on. However, as business goes global, online communications become crucial. Have become, again, it's this idea of it started in the past and it continues, okay? However, as business goes global, online communications have become crucial and necessary because it is cost-effective and enhances work efficiency. A study done in the UK reported that multinational companies like Google, Apple, and Samsung valued virtual meetings as one of the most efficient communication methods in organizations. Good. This is due to the easy reach to colleagues. All right, that's a little strange here. It's a little awkward. Let's see. This is due to the easy reach to colleagues in different continents without extra international travel costs needed. Also, the virtual meetings allow employees to receive instant feedback and solutions when facing urgent issues. All right, I want to change around that wording a little bit. This is due to the ease with which colleagues in different continents can be reached without extra international travel costs. So you needed to make it a little more advanced grammatically. If you had done that and done it successfully, it would have been a beautiful sentence, okay? Let's see. In other words, online communication plays a critical role in establishing efficient and immediate cooperation in workplaces, especially among multinational companies. Okay, good, fine. To conclude on the arguments and examples given, I believe that the benefits online communication brings to companies have surpassed its disadvantages. With the growing trend of workplace online communication, online workplace communication would have seemed more natural to me. Usage in recent years, its efficiency and convenience will facilitate companies' productivity, and people will overcome the significant inconveniences of it shortly. Okay, this is good on the whole. Let's see if there's anything I want to add to this. Let me just look through it really briefly, see if I missed anything I want to tell you. I'm sure I covered everything. I wanted you to be a little more cautious with that area of distracting websites in that first body paragraph. Other than that, I thought you did a very nice job of this. No other real comments. It was good work altogether. I like the way you organized your paragraphs. That is, that you talked about this first and you talked about the second. Remember that it's a good idea to use a nice broad kind of topic sentence for the beginning of each paragraph, okay? And that's pretty much it. I thought you did a nice job with this. So let's move on to your task 1, school subjects in Germany. Should I describe the group of people who contribute data to the... No. Well, I don't know. I don't know how to answer this. Let me look at what you wrote and then I'll tell you what's appropriate, okay? The pie chart illustrates the percentage of 7 school subjects' popularity in Germany in 2017. Overall, PE, history, maths, and physics were relatively favored by students and shared a similar percentage of popularity, whereas biology, geography, and IT were less preferred school subjects among students in Germany. Lovely. PE and history were the most popular subjects across the 7 subjects. Okay, could you do something to make this a little more cohesive and not repeat the word subjects twice in that sentence? So maybe you could have done this. PE and history were rated most popular across the 7 subjects. I think that works. Almost the same. Now, careful here. You don't want to talk about name. I'm sorry, did I say name? I mean, you don't want to talk about the number of students. When you have percentages, we're not talking about numbers at all. We're talking just about percentages, percent, or you could use the words proportion or figures. Figures is a great word. It's a catch-all. You can use it anywhere. So why don't we try that? Almost the same figure rated PE and history as their preferred school. What? I don't understand this. You just said history, PE and history were the most popular subjects across the 7. Let's try that again. PE and history were rated most popular across the 7 subjects. Almost the same percentage of students rated PE and history as their preferred school subjects, with PE having the highest vote of 22.9, followed by history with 22.4% of popularity. I think you could have condensed this. Because it felt a little repetitive. That's why I had to read it a second time. I was just like, okay, well, you just said this. Why are you saying it again? I think you could have rephrased this to kind of economize words. Maybe you could have done something like this. Let's see if we can do it together. PE and history were the most popular across the 7 subjects. PE had the highest popularity with 22.9%, followed by history with 22.4%. That's it. Similarly, maths and physics were relatively popular subjects with almost 1/5 and 18.1% of almost 1/5 and 18% of students preferring these subjects respectively. All right, that's fine. Just careful with your grammar. Biology, geography, and IT were considerably less popular subjects compared to the other. If you see, there it is again, subjects. So try to find a way to make this a little more cohesive. You're not repeating the word subjects in the same sentence. Let's see. Biology, geography, and IT were considerably less popular compared to the other subjects. That's all. You could use a little ellipsis here, and this is a wonderful way of providing cohesion. All I did was take out this word here. It's implied because you then say it specifically here. So, specifically 7.1% of students preferred biology, followed by 6.4% of students preferring geography. Why? Because what you're really saying here is followed by 6.4% of students who preferred geography. Okay, but what I did is I made this a reduced relative clause, and that means I took out the relative pronoun who. I looked at the verb. It's an active verb, and so I put it in its participle form, which is ing. So followed by 6.4% of students preferring geography. IT was the least popular subject, with less than 4% of students reporting it as their preferred subject. All right, there again, subject. So just in this one paragraph, look at how many times you have the word subject. It's really quite a bit. I think it's 4. So again, you could have used some cohesion here, maybe with some ellipsis, maybe with some pronouns. Let's see what you could have done. IT was the least popular subject, with less than 4% of students reporting it as their favorite. Full stop. Okay? So I like a lot of what you did. I thought you did really rather well here. Yeah, so I didn't have a problem with the word students. That, to me, didn't feel as overused as the word subjects did. Like, look here, you use students twice, but you use subject like 4 times. And then here, I think something similar happened. You've got subjects 1, students 1, subjects 2, subjects 3, students 2, subjects 4. So I think you were really concerned about the usage of the word students, but I was far more concerned with the usage of the word subjects. So that's where you need to provide some synonyms, some, cohesive elements here, like some of the things that I talked about. Okay. Like I said, I didn't have a problem with students, but I did give you some suggestions on how to deal with students. So that's a bigger, I'm sorry, I meant subjects. So that's a bigger issue. Okay, I thought you did a nice job, definitely for, at this point in the course, you're doing well. So keep it up. Try to apply some of the things that we're talking about today, and I'll be waiting for your next set of essays. Good luck to you.